before we begin our tale, let's take time to relax and let go of the stresses of the day. Close your eyes and allow yourself to settle into a comfortable, relaxed state. Take a deep breath in, filling your lungs with calmness, and exhale slowly, releasing any tension. Let the sound of my voice guide you on a journey through time and nature. Imagine yourself transforming, your body becoming tall and strong, your feet rooting deep into the earth. You are now an ancient tree in the heart of a lush, vibrant forest in Greece. Your branches stretch towards the sky, leaves rustling softly in the breeze, and your roots intertwine with the nurturing soil of this mythical land. Around you, the forest is alive with the sounds of nature. Gentle chirping of birds, a rustling of leaves, and the distant flow of a babbling brook. The air is fresh and filled with the sweet scent of wild flowers and earth. As the sun filters through your leaves, casting dappled shadows on the forest floor, you become aware of the presence of nymphs, the playful spirits of nature. These ethereal beings are dancing and laughing around you, their movements graceful and full of joy. The nymphs are a vision of beauty and freedom. Some twirl elegantly in the glades, their feet barely touching the soft, mossy ground, while others playfully chase each other, their laughter echoing like music through a forest. As a tree, you stand as a silent, steadfast observer of their timeless play. The nymphs occasionally come to you, leaning against your trunk or swinging from your branches, their touch light and gentle. You feel a deep connection with them, an understanding that you are all integral parts of the same ancient, magical world. The sunlight shifts, casting golden hues across the forest. The nymphs continue their dance, now more serene, in harmony with the changing light. Their connection with the natural world is profound and beautiful, a dance of life that has been ongoing for centuries. Feel the peace and tranquility of this scene. The timeless beauty of nature and myth intertwined. You, as the ancient tree, are a guardian of history, a witness to the joy and playfulness of the nymphs, and a part of the natural harmony of this enchanted forest. And it is in this forest that we meet the protagonist of tonight's story. in the heart of a lush, ancient forest, where the sun's rays danced through the leaves, and the air hummed with the secrets of the earth, there lived Dionysus. He was unlike any other being in these woods, praised by the beautiful nymphs of the forest. Dionysus grew up believing he was one of them, yet always feeling a strange disconnect, a sense that he belonged to another world. The forest was a sanctuary of enchantment and mystery, where Dionysus roamed freely, his heart in tune with the rhythm of nature. The nymphs, graceful and wise, were his family, his protectors, his teachers. They shared with him the secrets of the woods, the language of the animals, and the melodies of the streams. One day, as Dionysus wandered alone, he stumbled upon a hidden glen where the vines twisted and turned in intricate patterns. He reached out, and as his fingers brushed against the leaves, the vines shivered and grew, wrapping around his arm in a warm embrace. Startled, Dionysus felt a surge of energy coursing through him, a power he had never known, yet it felt intimately familiar. Confused and exhilarated by this magical moment, Dionysus returned to his nymph guardians, his heart pounding with questions. Under the canopy of ancient trees, they sat him down, their faces solemn. They revealed to him the truth of his origins, a story of divine lineage and tragic deceit. "Dear Dionysus," she started, her eyes meeting his, "you are not just one of us, nor are you merely a mortal. You are the son of Zeus, the mighty king of the gods, and Semele, a mortal woman of extraordinary grace and beauty." Dionysus's eyes widened. "Zeus, the ruler of Olympus, is my father?" he asked, his voice a mix of awe and disbelief. "Yes, my child," another nymph replied. "Your birth is a tale of love and tragedy. Zeus, in his admiration for your mother, Semele, came to her, and from their union you will conceive." "But how did my mother perish?" Dionysus's voice trembled, a sense of foreboding enveloping him. The first nymph sighed, a note of sorrow in her voice. "Hera, Zeus's wife, out of jealousy, tricked Semele. She convinced her to ask Zeus to reveal his true divine form, a sight no mortal can conjure. Unable to refuse her request, Zeus revealed himself in all his glory, and Semele was overwhelmed, consumed by his divine light. The silence fell, heavy with the weight of the untold. Dionysus, absorbing the truth of his origins, felt a storm of emotions raging within him. Sorrow for the mother he never knew, anger at the deceit that led to her demise, and a burgeoning curiosity about his divine heritage. So, I am a child of both the heavens and the earth. Dionysus finally spoke, his voice steadier. Bridge between the world of gods and mortals. Yes, Dionysus, the nymph gently affirmed, you are a being of both realms, destined to walk a path that blends the mortal and the divine. Your journey is unique, and your powers, as you have begun to discover, are a reflection of your extraordinary lineage. Dionysus stood there, amidst the ancient trees, his mind a whirlwind of thoughts. He was more than he had ever imagined. A demigod, child of Zeus, destined for a path filled with wonders and challenges. The nymphs, with tears glistening in their eyes, encouraged Dionysus to follow his heart, to seek out his destiny beyond the forest. As the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, Dionysus stood at the edge of the woods, the threshold of his familiar world. He looked back at the forest that had cradled his childhood, then forward to the unknown. With a deep breath, he stepped out, embarking on a journey to find himself, to embrace his divine heritage, and to uncover the mysteries of his existence. The adventures of Dionysus, the god of wine and pleasure, had just begun. As Dionysus ventured beyond the protective embrace of the forest, he embarked on a journey across the varied landscapes of ancient Greece. With each step, his understanding of both the world and himself deepened, leading him towards his destiny. In a village caressed by the gentle Mediterranean sun, Dionysus discovered his first true connection to divinity. The villagers struggled with their vineyards. The grapes, though abundant, yielded only bitter wine. Dionysus, drawn to the vines as if by an ancestral call, touched them with hands that resonated with a newfound power. The vines responded, flourishing under his care, yielding grapes that produced a rich, ambrosial wine. Villagers, amazed by this transformation, celebrated Dionysus, hailing him as a blessing from the gods. This moment marked not just the discovery of winemaking, but the awakening of Dionysus's divine power, intertwining his essence with the vine. Word of Dionysus's miracles spread, and people from distant lands sought him, drawn to his wisdom and charisma. Among them were the marginalized, those whom society had cast aside. To these people, Dionysus offered not just the secrets of the vine, but also teachings of liberation, of finding joy beyond the constraints of societal norms. Dionysus welcomed everyone, his followers growing into a diverse community. They revered him not just as a teacher, but as a symbol of freedom and unbridled spirit, a god who transcended the ordinary. Inspired, Dionysus organized a grand festival in a hidden valley, a celebration of wine, art, and ecstatic freedom. His followers, adorned with ivy and animal skins, gathered in anticipation. As night fell, the valley came alive with music, dancing, and the flow of wine. Led by Dionysus, the revelers danced under the moonlight, entering a state of euphoric trance. The festival became a realm where the ordinary was transcended, where the spirit was freed, and where every soul connected with the divine. As Dionysus delved deeper into his divine nature, the devotion of his followers solidified. They began to see him as more than a master of the vine, but as a deity of transformation and transcendence. The Dionysian cult evolved from a gathering of followers into an organized community, with rituals that celebrated the mysteries of life and rebirth. The cult attracted a diverse array of followers, from artists and poets seeking inspiration, to farmers and laborers seeking solace from their toil. Dionysian rites became synonymous with liberation, with ceremonies that embraced the wild, unstructured aspects of life. In a defining moment, Dionysus stood atop a hill, overlooking a sea of followers in a valley below. The setting sun cast a golden glow, illuminating the faces of his diverse congregation. It was here that Dionysus fully embraced his identity as a god, a deity not of wrath or judgment, but of joy, freedom, and rebirth. He raised his arms, embracing the expanse of sky and earth, and spoke. "My beloved followers," Dionysus began, his voice carrying over the valley. "Today marks not just a gathering, but the dawn of a new era, an era where the joy of the vine will flow freely across the world, bringing with it the spirit of celebration, freedom, and unity." He paused, his gaze sweeping over the crowd, seeing the spark of hope and excitement in their eyes. For too long, the rigid structures of society have confined our spirits, stifling the true essence of what it means to be alive. As your God, I challenge these constraints. I bring a promise of liberation, call to break free from the shackles of convention and to dance in the light of true freedom. The air seemed to thrum with the power of his words, the essence of his message resonating deeply with everyone present. And to those who have felt lost, to those who have been shunned or misunderstood, know this: you have a place by my side. As the guardian of the misfits and the outcasts, I offer you refuge and acceptance. Under my guidance, we will forge a world where every soul, regardless of its journey, can find joy and peace. Dionysus's voice rose, infused with passion and conviction. Together, we will spread the joy of the vine to every corner of the world. We will celebrate life in all its forms. And in doing so, we will touch the divine. This is my vow to you as the god of wine, pleasure, and rebirth. As he concluded, the valley erupted in a thunderous cheer, the sound echoing off the hills and into the heavens. This chapter in Dionysus's life marked his transformation from a curious wanderer into a powerful deity. His connection with wine, his role in liberating the spirit, and his challenge to societal norms were now firmly established. As Dionysus's fame spread, his journey took him to the shores of the Mediterranean Sea. On a day when the sea was calm and the horizon seemed endless, Dionysus stood on the shore, gazing out at the vast blue expanse. A pirate ship, its sails billowing in the gentle breeze, approached the shore. The pirates, seeing Dionysus alone and assuming him to be a nobleman or a wealthy traveler, seized him, envisioning a handsome ransom. Dionysus offered no resistance, his eyes glinting with a mix of amusement and foresight. He was taken aboard the ship, where the pirates bound him with ropes. But the ropes refused to hold him. slipping off his body as if repelled by an unseen force. The pirates, initially amused, grew increasingly unsettled as their captive remained calm and unbound. As the ship sailed away from the shore, Dionysus decided it was time to reveal his true nature. The air around him shimmered with an ethereal light, and the ship began to transform. The sails turned into grapevines, heavy with ripe, luscious grapes. The oars morphed into serpentine tendrils, writhing and twisting in the air. The deck became covered with ivy, and the sounds of flutes and distant drums filled the air. The pirates, struck by terror and awe, realized that they had not captured a mere mortal. To God, Dionysus, with a mere thought, filled their minds with visions of both pleasure and madness. Some danced uncontrollably. Others sang with voices they never knew they had. And a few cowered in fear, overwhelmed by the divine spectacle. In their panic, the pirates leaped overboard, seeking escape from the overwhelming presence of the god. As they touched the sea, they transformed, not into drowned men, but into dolphins. Their human minds remain, filled with the memory of their folly and the divine retribution they had faced. Dionysus watched them, his punishment a lesson rather than a curse. He did not seek to harm, but to enlighten, to show the power of the divine and the folly of underestimating forces beyond human understanding. The ship, now abandoned, drifted to a nearby port. The story of the miraculous transformation and the fate of the pirates spread rapidly, becoming a legend. Dionysus's reputation grew, not just as a god of wine and revelry, but as a powerful deity capable of awe-inspiring feats and merciful justice. As Dionysus wandered through the lands with his growing band of followers, their path was illuminated by the joy and liberation they spread. Among them, a particularly zealous follower approached Dionysus with an idea that struck a chord deep within him. Great Dionysus, we have danced under many moons and shared the divine nectar across numerous cities, yet we have not graced Thebes with our presence. Its people are yet to taste the true freedom that only you can offer. The follower suggested, his eyes alight with enthusiasm. Thebes. The name echoed in Dionysus's mind, stirring a distant memory. He had heard of Thebes before, but the reason lay shrouded in the mists of his past. As they journeyed towards the city, Dionysus found himself haunted by fragmented recollections, like pieces of a puzzle, longing to be completed. It was during these quiet moments of introspection that the story the nymphs had told him unfurled once again in his mind. Thebes, the city where his mortal life began, where his mother, Semele, had lived and tragically died due to Hera's cunning deceit. It was in Thebes that his divine and mortal paths had first intertwined. Arriving at the gates of Thebes, Dionysus felt an unspoken bond with the city. Its streets and buildings seemed to whisper secrets of his past, of a life he never knew. Yet he kept these personal musings to himself, focusing on his mission to spread the ecstasy of his cult, despite the excitement of his followers. Dionysus's return was met with resistance. Pentheus, the king of Thebes, viewed the god and his entourage with skepticism and fear. Determined to maintain order, Pentheus banned the Dionysian rites, proclaiming them a threat to the city's moral fabric. This decree only fueled Dionysus's resolve. He quietly began to invoke his divine powers, casting a spell of ecstatic madness upon the women of Thebes, including Pentheus's own mother. Under his spell, the women of the city left their homes, venturing into the wilderness to engage in wild, uninhibited, naked celebrations. Amidst this chaos, Dionysus slipped away to a place that held the whispers of his past, the ruins of his family home. Here, amid the crumbling walls and faded echoes of laughter and sorrow, Dionysus felt a deep connection to his mortal lineage. Standing in the remains of what once was, he called upon his divine heritage, focusing his powers to bridge the realm of the living and the dead. As the air around him shimmered the ghostly light, a spectral form began to materialize. It was Semele, his mother, appearing as she had in life, radiant and full of love. Dionysus, overwhelmed with emotion, reached out to her. Though he could not touch her, the connection was palpable. "Mother," Dionysus whispered, his voice heavy with years of unspoken words. "I have served long to know you, to understand the legacy I carry." Semele, her eyes brimming with both joy and sadness, spoke softly. "My dear son, your journey has been one of great trials and triumphs. You have grown beyond the bounds of mortality, finding your place among the stars and the earth." They spoke of love, loss, and the intertwining paths of gods and mortals. Semele shared her pride in his achievements and offered him peace, reassuring Dionysus that his journey was destined for greatness. As their conversation drew to a close, she began to fade, her form dissolving into the ether. Be brave, my son. Embrace your path, for it is unlike any other, were Semele's final words, spoken with a mother's love that transcended the barriers of life and death. As the spectral form of Semele disappeared, another presence made itself known. Persephone, queen of the underworld, emerged from the shadows, her expression a mix of surprise and admiration. Dionysus, your powers are indeed remarkable, Persephone said, a voice echoing the depths of the underworld. To summon the spirit of the dead is no small feat. Your reputation precedes you, not just as a harbinger of pleasure and liberation, but as a deity revered by mortals. Dionysus, still reeling from his encounter with Semele, nodded respectfully to Persephone. Thank you, Queen Persephone. My journey has been one of discovery, of understanding, the breadth of my powers and my place in the world. Persephone guarded him with a knowing look. Your actions have not gone unnoticed, Dionysus. In fact, Zeus, your father, has requested your presence. It seemed you have stirred the heavens as much as you have the earth. Persephone's words hung in the air, laden with both opportunity and uncertainty. Dionysus, still standing amidst the ruins of his past, felt a surge of conflicting emotions at the prospect of meeting Zeus, his father, and standing among the gods of Olympus. I am both excited and fearful, Dionysus admitted, his voice betraying a rare vulnerability. To meet my father, to stand amongst the gods. It's a destiny I've pondered in dreams, yet never fully grasped as reality. What awaits me in that celestial realm, I wonder. Persephone smiled. A look of understanding crossed her face. The path of the deity is fraught with both wonders and challenges. But remember, Dionysus, you are of both earth and Olympus. Your unique nature is your strength. With these reassuring words, she beckoned him to follow. Together, they began their ascent to Mount Olympus, the abode of the gods. The path before them shimmered with an otherworldly light, winding through the clouds and beyond the bounds of the mortal world. As they climbed, the air grew thinner, and the sky shifted into a tapestry of ethereal hues. Dionysus felt the weight of his mortal ties lessen with each step. a sense of divine purpose filling him. The closer they got to Olympus, the more his apprehension gave way to a burgeoning sense of destiny. Finally, they reached the summit, where the air was alive with the powers of the gods. Olympus unfolded before him in all its glory. A realm of majestic palaces, lush gardens, and beings of incomparable power and beauty. Standing at the threshold of Olympus, Dionysus took a deep breath. This was the moment of truth, the meeting of his mortal past and his divine future. With Persephone at his side, he stepped forward, ready to embrace his fate among the gods, ready to meet Zeus, the father he had never known. As Dionysus stepped into the resplendent realm of Mount Olympus, he found himself amidst one of the famed parties of the gods. The atmosphere was electric, filled with the sounds of celestial music, laughter, and the clinking of nectar-filled chalices. It was a scene of divine revelry, and Dionysus, god of wine and ecstasy, felt an immediate sense of belonging. The Olympians, renowned for their grand feasts, had outdone themselves. Tables laden with ambrosia and other worldly delicacies stretched as far as the eye could see. Gods and goddesses danced and mingled, their forms radiating with ethereal grace. Amidst this splendor, Zeus, the king of the gods, noticed Dionysus's arrival. With a broad smile, he approached his son, his arms open in welcome. Dionysus, my son, your arrival brings even more joy to our celebration. Zeus boomed, his voice both warm and commanding. He embraced Dionysus. Dionysus, though initially overwhelmed, soon found his rhythm within the divine party. His natural charisma and affinity for celebration drew many Olympians to him. Eager to partake in the delights of wine and dance he so generously offered. However, amidst the revelry, Dionysus's gaze fell upon Hera. The queen of the gods sat regally, her expression one of barely concealed displeasure at his presence. The memories of her hostility towards him and his mother lingered uncomfortably in his mind. And despite Zeus's words, Dionysus couldn't help but feel a twinge of apprehension. He was not one of them. Not really. He was merely a demigod, standing on the fringes of this celestial domain. He yearned for a place among the revered 12 Olympian gods, but those positions were already occupied by deities of immense power and ancient lineage. Despite Zeus's words, Dionysus couldn't help but feel, as the weeks went by, Dionysus was invited back to Mount Olympus on an almost daily basis. He became a familiar and lively presence at the divine gatherings. His infectious enthusiasm and mastery of wine and celebration endearing him to many of the gods. Dionysus brought a new vibrancy to their parties, infusing them with an energy and wildness that even the Olympians had rarely experienced. One day, after a particularly exuberant celebration, Hestia, the goddess of the hearth and home, took Dionysus aside. Unlike the others, she seemed distant from the revelry, her demeanor calm and contemplative. "Dionysus," she began, "I have watched you closely these past weeks. You bring a joy and a spirit to Olympus that is both unique and needed. My own path, I have realized, lies elsewhere." Hestia then revealed her decision to take an oath of independence and chastity. She felt increasingly out of place amidst the ongoing festivities and debauchery of Olympus. Her essence was tied to the hearth, to stability and peace, a stark contrast to the dynamic nature of the celestial celebrations. "I wish to relinquish my seat among the Olympian 12. Hestia continued, her eyes meeting Dionysus's. "I believe you are the one to take my place." Dionysus was taken aback by her proposal, feeling both honored and humbled. Together, they approached Zeus and the other gods to present Hestia's decision and Dionysus's potential ascension. Zeus, upon hearing Hestia's wish and Dionysus's potential to fill her place, contemplated the proposition. The other gods, having grown fond of Dionysus's vibrant character and his ability to bridge worlds, voiced their support. After a moment of thoughtful silence, Zeus agreed. "Dionysus," he declared, "your journey has been one of transformation and revelation. You have shown yourself to be not just a bringer of joy and liberation to mortals, but also a worthy member of our divine assembly. We welcome you as one of the 12 Olympian gods." The gods raised their chalices in celebration, heralding the arrival of a new era in Olympus, with Dionysus as one of its revered members. Dionysus, overwhelmed with gratitude and a sense of fulfillment, joined in the festivities, now not as a guest, but as an equal among the pantheon of gods. With Hestia's blessing and the acceptance of the Olympians, Dionysus's place in the divine realm was secured, marking a new chapter in his extraordinary journey from a demigod to a revered Olympian. I hope you enjoyed this story, and it has brought you a night of peaceful, restful sleep. Please join me again tomorrow night for another sleep story. Until then, sweet dreams.